All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the first set of exercises for Module 2. My name is Brandon Pettit, and I will be walking through the exercises with you alongside the lectures from Alex. So first off, we want to make sure that we have the correct prerequisites for this exercise set. So to start, I have my Liferay instance running. You'll notice here in my Liferay bundle, I do have the portal.ext.properties file. This is very important. If you want to go ahead and open this up, you should have received the portal.ext.properties file from the exercises in Module 1. Now this includes basically just some developer properties. It turns off things like caching so that we can make sure that our changes from development are seen on the platform. So make sure you have that set up. Additionally, what I have is I have Yeoman and Gulp installed alongside NPM. So make sure you have those installed. Again, all of these you can reference from Module 1. Of course, you need the JDK to run the platform as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by building our new theme. We're going to do it for the Livingstone Hotels and Resorts. So this will be the Livingstone Fjord theme. And then we will, throughout these exercises, continue to build upon what we're learning throughout the course and adding some different elements to our theme. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to look at my exercises here. Okay, so we have our exercises source file. This is where we're going to find the files for our themes, as well as a few other items here, such as the snippets JSON that we'll be working with. This will allow us to determine whether or not we want to actually type the full code in. We can just get code and use some of these snippets. And then we have the Livingstone logo as well. Now for the first exercise, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have Visual Studio Code installed. So this is going to be the text editor that we use. And we're going to go ahead and add some snippets to Visual Studio Code to make our process of creating this theme a little bit easier. So if you don't already have Visual Studio Code installed, go ahead and follow the instructions in the exercise steps. You can go to the Visual Studio Code site. You can download VS Code for your operating system, and then you can just go ahead and make sure to run it, get it installed, and open it up with me here. Okay, now once you have this installed and ready to go, we're going to go ahead and add those snippets like I said. So go ahead and if you're on Windows, you can find this in File and Preferences and User Snippets. On OS X, what I'm going to do here is go to Code here. Same thing, go to Preferences and User Snippets. I'm going to create a new snippets file. I'm going to call it lfr-front-end and then go ahead and hit Enter. So this gives us our new snippet file. So we have some snippets in here that we can just go ahead and copy paste. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to start by deleting what's in here. Then I'm going to go ahead and go to the LFR front end snippets JSON in my exercise folder. So if you don't have the exercise folder here with the snippets, go ahead and just download that from the page and you can open that up in a convenient location on your desktop or somewhere on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this JSON file. I'm going to go ahead and just highlight everything and copy it, and then just bring it on over to my new snippets file. And this will include all the snippets that we need for all of the exercises for building our theme. So I'm going to close the snippet file here. I can close the global snippets file for VS Code. And we can go ahead and continue on. Let's go ahead and start by building our base theme. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open my terminal here. All right, I'm going to navigate to my Liferay folder. All right, if you don't already have a Liferay folder, feel free to create one of those either in your C drive or in your user home. I'm going to go ahead and navigate there to user home Liferay. All right. And I'm going to run yo liferay-theme. So I'm going to go ahead and just walk through this editor here. I'm going to add the information needed, and it's going to go ahead and build and construct this for me. So I'm going to type in Livingstone Fjord theme. For the ID, I'm just going to accept the default here. I'm going to also accept 7.2, since that's what we're working on. It's going to ask you if you want to add Font Awesome to your theme. Go ahead and type Y and enter. And it's going to go ahead and build this theme for us. So we'll give it a few minutes here, or seconds. So once it is built, it's going to ask us how we want to deploy our theme. We can use a local app server. We can use a Docker container. In our case, we're going to go ahead and just use the local app server since we have a bundle installed to our local machines. Go ahead and select local app server. And then we're going to go ahead and add in the path to our Tomcat folder. So what I can do here is I can just go to my bundle, go to Tomcat. If you're on Mac, you can just go ahead and drag Tomcat in. It'll give you the path. If you're in Windows, you can actually just go there and click and copy the path there as well. And go ahead and hit enter. We're going to use the default development site URL, localhost. And there we go. We have our new theme built and ready to go. We'll go ahead and extend this here so we can deploy our new theme. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and just deploy the base theme for Livingstone Fjord. So let's go ahead and navigate there. I'm going to go to the new Livingstone Fjord theme in the terminal or command line, depending on what operating system you're using. And we're just going to run gulp deploy. So now we've deployed it. You should see, if you have your Tomcat server running here nearby, it's going to be deploying the theme for us. And we should see that the Livingstone Fjord theme has been copied successfully and that it is ready for use. So give that a few minutes. Once it says that it's ready for use, you can go ahead and turn it on the site. So we should see that it says available for use. The module started, so we can go ahead and add this to our site. So let's go ahead and come to our site. If you're not already logged in, make sure to log in. We're just using the Josiah Copeland account that we created in Module 1. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the menu here, and we're going to go to Site Builder and Pages. Now here, I'm going to go ahead and configure my public pages by clicking this little gear icon here. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll down here. You should see Change Current Theme. I'm going to go ahead and click on Change Current Theme. And we will now see our Livingstone Fjord theme. I'll go ahead and click on this. Notice there is no thumbnail yet. We haven't added anything to this. This is just a base theme. And we'll go ahead and click Save. All right, from there we can click Go to Site, and we can see our new beautiful theme. So like I said, this is a base theme. This simply includes some base CSS structures for us, as well as our base HTML that we can work with. So we can go ahead and start adding our customizations here. So let's go ahead and open up our theme source. All right. So to do that, I'm actually going to head out of my bundle back to my Liferay folder. This is where our theme is. So go ahead and navigate to your Liferay folder either through C Liferay or user home Liferay or wherever you've placed the Liferay folder. And we're going to go ahead and open up our Livingstone Fjord theme. Now you'll notice here again we have our build. The build is going to include the base theme, and the source folder is where we're going to include all of our customizations and changes. Now in real life, when you're building your theme, again, what you want to do is you want to basically go to the build folder. You want to copy and paste any of the folders from here into your source folder that you want to edit, or perhaps specifically the files. So for example, if I wanted to modify some of the HTML, what I should not do is create a templates folder and then just create a base HTML or FTL file to use. I should go to the build, to the templates, and then I should copy whatever file it is that I want to go ahead and edit. For example, the portal normal for source, if I want to change some of that, I would be taking it from the build folder. Now for the purposes of these exercises, we have provided some files for you that we can go ahead and use that include some comments where we can place our new snippets. So what we want to do first is we want to go ahead and build out that folder structure in our source folder, and then we can add in our own files and make edits to those as we continue throughout this module. So go ahead and click on source, and we're going to add 3 folders here. We're going to add the images folder, the JavaScript folder, and our templates folder. So you just go ahead and right click and create a new folder. The first one is going to be images. Second one is going to be really long. It's going to be JS, and the last one is going to be templates. So this gives us our basic structure. Like I said, in real life, I would be going to the CSS JS templates folders. I would be taking the files that I want to modify from build and placing them in here. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and get some of our files and we're going to pull them in, and we're also going to modify some of the existing files as well. So let's start by adding the Liferay lookandfeel.xml from our exercises into the web.inf folder. And the web.inf folder just includes some of our configuration files. So I'm going to go to my exercises. Something that I like to do here is I like to go into exercise source, So I can see on my tabs here I have exercise source versus source, which is going to be my actual theme. So I'm going to open up the web-inf. I'm going to copy the Liferay look and feel.xml. And then I'm going to come back into source, web-inf, and I'm going to replace the existing Liferay look and feel.xml. This just gives us some basic structure. We'll actually come back to this file in a later exercise, and we'll add our edits here later. Now, something that you can do while we're building this theme, you'll actually see this in your exercises, is you can run gulp watch. I'm just going to go ahead and deploy per exercise set just to make sort of a clean break from being able to add the code in and everything. But if you'd like, what you can do while you're walking through this is you can run gulp watch, and what it should do for you is it should auto deploy your changes, and it should be watching for those changes in your theme. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take the templates files from the templates folder in exercise source and pull them into our actual theme. So I'm going to open up templates. Just going to go ahead and copy all these guys here. Go to source, templates, which is currently an empty folder, and I'm going to go ahead and paste all of my templates here. So we'll start by modifying our HTML for this theme. So let's start with the most important file, the portalnormal.ftl, which is our HTML source file. We're going to go ahead and look at our snippet comments here. So to start, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and modify the existing header. Now, if you're interested, I would highly recommend at this point pausing the video and going to the build folder in your theme and opening up the base portalnormal.ftl. Take a look at what's there. Take a look at the snippets we're about to add, and then you can go ahead and see what kinds of changes we made for this particular theme. Now for us, we're going to go ahead and highlight this first snippet comment. We're going to type in LFR, and we're going to go ahead and add in the first snippet. So what we're doing here is we're simply adding an if statement that allows us to include the header FTL as a separate file. What this does is it helps us to keep the portal normal clean, sort of modularize our HTML. It allows us to do all of the code that we need for the header in the header.ftl. So I'll go ahead and save that there. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add the second snippet here. So again, we can highlight the snippet comment, type LFR, and we're going to find the second snippet called portal normal main. Go ahead and add that in here. We can save this. Now this is not that different from what we see in the base portal normal. This is the section you typically don't want to modify too heavily, as it contains some of the functionality that we expect from our page, including drag and drop of widgets, as well as a link to the actual portlet FTL, which includes the HTML structure of all of our widgets on the page. And then next, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and add in our footer FTL code here. In the upcoming exercises, you can go ahead and decide if you want to type things in yourself or if you want to go ahead and use the snippets. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I'm going to type in my if statement. So I'm going to do if show footer. I'm going to tab over here and add my include, so this will be just like the header. Okay. In fact, if you want to, you can go ahead and just copy the header, bring it down here, and then modify it. So I'm going to include here, and I'm going to add in this variable here, the full templates path. Okay, and if you're interested where this comes from, all right, this comes from the init.ftl, which you can find in the build folder. So I'm going to do full templates path here, and then I'm going to add the footer.ftl. I'm going to close this off. And then finally, I'm going to go ahead and close my if. So like I said, if you want, you could just go ahead and copy that header section and then just modify it. So instead of header and show header, it's footer and show footer. So I'll go ahead and save it here. Now that we've added some of these, let's go ahead and start by modifying the footer. So like I said, what this allows us to do is it allows us to separate out our HTML code into different FTL files, okay, or free marker code, and we can go ahead and modify those files separately. So let's open up the footer.ftl file. We have a comment here. We can go ahead and type LFR and add the 03 footer FTL snippet. So what this is this gives us a footer HTML structure that includes things like the logo, a footer navigation.ftl, as well as a powered by Liferay link. Now we sort of snuck it in here. You can see that we have linked this to the training site, and we want to go ahead and add some social media icons here as well. We'll come back to that one in a little bit. For starters, we're going to go ahead and check out this footer navigation and add some code here as well. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. I'll just go ahead and move this here. Footer navigation, I can go ahead and drop in here. So what we want to do is we want to add a sign-in link to the footer as well as a navigation that will show us all the pages that can be created in the site. So let's go ahead and highlight the first snippet. I'm going to type LFR. I'm going to add in the sign-in here. This is basically an if statement that says if you are not signed in, that's going to show you a sign-in link. And then I want to go ahead and add in the nav menu here. So type LFR, go ahead and add in the fifth snippet. So what we have here is a for each statement that is going to look at the different navigation items as they're added, includes their links, their URL, as well as the name. Okay, so these are all variables that you have available to you from the init.ftl. So like I said, if you want to pause the video, you want to take a look at that init.ftl in the build templates folder, feel free to take a look. But this basically allows us to not have to statically add in new pages as they're added to a site in Liferay. So that's it for now. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and deploy our changes as they are so we can see the HTML changes. And then in the next section, we'll talk about adding CSS to our themes. So let's go ahead and come back to our theme in our terminal or command line. And like we did before, we can just go ahead and run gulp deploy. And again, if you're running gulp watch, it should have already picked up these changes, and you should be able to refresh once they are available on your platform. So this might take a minute to load. Okay, so we can go ahead and see that deploy. We can see the changes. All right, and once it is available for use, as we can see here, we should be able to refresh our page and see our base changes here. So we see the new header, navigation menu. Okay, we see we have our logo and we have our navigation here. Now obviously we're not done yet. We need to start adding some of our custom CSS, and that's exactly what we're going to go ahead and talk about next. So I'll see you guys in the next exercise.